Hello, everybody. Welcome to day 5. This is our last day of our 5-day challenge. How not to lose your cool, especially when your kids do. Hello, Jenny. Hi, Bill. Hi, Vivian. Thank you for joining. As you join, just say hello. Let me know that you're here. I'm going to hop onto Facebook and see who's watching on Facebook. Hello, Terry. Thanks for watching. Yay. So it is Friday night. And if you are Canadian, it is the long weekend. So I can imagine that some people might be a little bit busy tonight, and that's okay. You can always catch the replay. And if you're watching on the replay, just type in #replay so that I know you watched later. Hello, Christy. Glad you're here. Hello, Be Kind. Glad you're here. Welcome. So I want to thank you so much for being here. 5 days. And it hasn't been a short time. It's been at least an hour and a half each time. So thank you for your time. Thank you for your commitment. I really feel like we are doing important work, and our kids with ADHD are truly here to teach us to be better parents and to help shift the parenting paradigm. So I'd love for you to let us know in the comments, since you've started this challenge, what have you noticed? Have you noticed maybe that you were able to stay calmer in a certain situation? Did you handle something differently? Was there a ripple effect? Did your actions kind of impact how your kids reacted maybe? Were you able to implement a strategy that you were really proud about? I'd love to hear from you. Let us know in the comments, what impact has this 5-day challenge had on you so far? And I'm going to hop right into the questions because there's a lot of questions, and I would like to answer as many of them as I can. And then at the end, I will do the draw for our 3 winners. And then we'll have a little shop with me event where I'll explain different ways that you can work with me. So our winners will be drawn, and your name has been put in this beautiful bucket if you did your homework and if you shared the challenge with friends, either on social media or by sharing an email, or just inviting a friend or family member to join the challenge. And it's not too late to join. I'm going to leave this challenge available for the whole month of October. This is my gift to everybody in the ADHD village to celebrate ADHD Awareness Month. So everything you need for the challenge is in our Facebook group, the ADHD Village. In the guide section, there's the live videos, there's links to the YouTube videos, there's the homework assignments, and there's some graphics. On YouTube, there's day 1, day 2, day 4, and I'll be adding day 5. Day 3 did not record. So it is in Facebook only. It's not, it won't be available on YouTube because it didn't record. And I don't know how to take a Facebook Live. I don't think it allows you to download your Facebook Live. So it's only in Facebook. Facebook owns it, I guess. Thank you, Jenny. You noticed, you said, I am much more aware of triggers, and that when I made a parenting mistake this morning with large fallout, I knew instantly that I could have done differently and was able to discuss my mistake with our boys and apologize with hugs and love and promises of how I will respond in the future. And that is actually a really beautiful thing, Jenny, because we are humans and we are imperfectly human. Parenting is not a perfect thing. We can't expect perfection. There's actually a book I love, Imperfect Parenting. Have I got it here? It's by Dr. Donna Matthews. Oh, her book's probably in my room. But Dr. Donna Matthews just wrote a book. Now I'd like to know where it is. Anyway, called Imperfect Parenting. So yes, we are not perfect. And teaching our kids that we make mistakes and how we handle our mistakes is really, really valuable. we want our kids to learn from their mistakes and know that it's okay to make mistakes. That's how they become creative and problem solvers and risk takers. So letting role modeling for them that you've made a mistake, that you've reflected on it, how you're going to do it differently. Like that's how we want them to handle their mistakes. So good for you, Jenny. Thank you for sharing that. Lovely. Okay. I'm going to hop into the questions. So I kind of lumped 3 questions together because 3 people asked basically the same kind of thing. And I love when the same thing comes up again and again, whether it's experts that I'm interviewing and I hear the same message from different experts in different fields, like that I find so exciting. But this first topic has come up repeatedly in the ADHD Village group, and it comes up often in my ADHD Warrior Mama coaching. And it's the topic of what do you do when you and your spouse or your parenting partner are not on the same page? So I'll read the 3 questions and then I'll kind of dive into the answers. So Christy Lynn, Christy, I think you're on Zoom right now. So this is your question. So Christy Lynn asked, what would you do if your spouse refused to accept that your child is not like other children and never will be? That the way you handle any issue isn't going to be the same every time. And that's so insightful, right? Like it depends where your child is on their balance board that day. One strategy or solution that might have worked one day may not work the next day, depending on your child's nervous system, depending on their mood, depending on all sorts of things. And everything's in ages and stages. So it might have worked for a little while and it doesn't work any longer. So yes, that's the way it is. Okay, Christy goes on to say that it depends on how each conflict is addressed. That will either stop the spiral or push it into a tornado. I love that visual. Yes, because how you handle something, you do have the power as the parent often. Like what you say can bring the situation down. You can cool the situation down, de-escalate things, or you can trigger them into a big tornado. TL Cat asked, how do you make emotions valued when your spouse was raised to push them down? Push them down and insist the kids do the same. And then Leanne asked, how do you help parents to be on the same page? In my case, it's especially challenging as my husband has ADHD, but won't own it. And also how to respond to family when they make statements such as thinking we are not disciplining when they see behaviors. So I've been like completely immersed in the coaching world for a while now. And by completely immersed, I mean, I've been using my ADHD superpower of hyper focus. Like this is what I've been hyper focusing on, learning as much as I can about coaching and all these topics. So I have noticed a lot in the coaching world, courses like that are called reparent, like reparenting yourself, or rebirth. Sarah Longoria had a course called Rebirth. So it's interesting because our children are actually here to teach us about ourselves. Like when they're pushing all of our buttons, that's an opportunity for us to learn about ourselves, figure out why these things are triggering us, and heal ourselves. So it's a chance to kind of look at our own childhood and how things were handled. So TL Cat, you said your husband was raised to like push down his emotions. Talk to him about what did that feel like as a child? Like, can he remember a time when he was a child and he was maybe upset or, upset about something and his feelings weren't acknowledged? Like, what did that feel like for him? What did it make him think? And is that what you want for your kids? Just something to kind of dig into. It's just so interesting that while we're parenting our kids, we have an opportunity to do our own inner work and do our own healing and reparent ourselves. This topic is really fascinating to me about the spouses not being on the same page, because I can really relate to that. And as a coach, I don't want to jump in the boat with you, because then we're all in the boat and we're all going to sink. So, um, but I will say, like, I get it. I understand it. And if you're the parent that's here right now in this training, you are working so hard to do all the things to make change in your family. You're attending workshops and challenges like this, and summits and courses, and you're reading books and listening to podcasts, and you're participating in like support groups like the ADHD Village. And you might be noticing that what you're doing and what you're learning, your kids are responding well to those things. They're responding well to the energy that you bring, or they're responding well to the strategies you're trying. And some of you might be fearful, and I've heard this from a lot of parents, and I know I was there myself, but fearful to actually leave your kids alone with your partner, parenting partner, whether it's your husband, your wife, or an ex, but the parenting partner. And because maybe we handle things better, or we handle things in a way that we're able to de-escalate our kids, we're able to calm their nervous system, and we don't think our spouse can do it the same way we do, and we've seen them not handle it the same way we do, and therefore we never ever want to leave our kids' side, because nobody can do it like us. And I know when my kids were little, like, my friends would go out and they'd have a babysitter, and to me, like, there was no way a babysitter who's like a teenager or something could handle my children. Like, that was just not an option. So my parents basically were my support. My mother-in-law is lovely too, but she lives out of province. My father-in-law lives out of province. When my mother-in-law is around, she was also a wonderful support. And I'm thankful for the grandparents, but sometimes grandparents have a hard time dealing with these great big emotions too. But really, it was just the grandparents who I could kind of trust with them and their big emotions. And with the two of them, maybe it would be easier to leave one with the grandparents and one stays with me, or separating them. And if that's an option for you, separating the kids, that might make it easier. But so I get the feeling of not wanting to leave your spouse in charge. It's a tricky one. It's a tricky one. Sometimes we feel like how our spouse or how our parenting partner is handling things, we feel like they're actually damaging our kids, and they're undoing the work that we have done. And I say this because I've heard this messaging from a lot of parents, a lot of moms, especially. What happens if you don't have anyone to help? Yeah, it's tough. If you don't have anyone, it's tough. And that's where you want to build your village as best you can. So in some places there are respite workers, and I don't know what kind of funding is available, but there are people who are trained to help with special kids who have special needs. If you look up respite support or respite work, and see what's available in the area that you live, that might be an option, kind of like a big brother kind of role, or like a mother's helper kind of role is helpful. You might have to spend time training that person on how to deal with situations. But anyway, so this is such a hot topic. And when I was newer in my coaching, because I felt like I could just jump in the boat with the mamas who were feeling this, I invited Dr. Donna Matthews. So she is an author of many books, including this one and including Imperfect Parenting. So she joined the Warrior Mamas and dug deep into this with us. And what she basically said is, like, it's okay to be an imperfect parent. So even though it feels to us like our spouse might be damaging, I mean, unless of course there's obvious abuse or neglect. So I'm not talking about that. That's an issue where you need to get help. But if it's, that they have different parenting strategies, they don't value emotions, maybe they're snappy or yelling, as uncomfortable as it is for us, we can't change their behavior. We can't make them change. we can work on ourselves. And what Donna Matthews really stressed was that it takes one parent to make a change in the family, just one parent. And when one parent really decides that they're going to be the change and they do the work, and I know this from my own experience too, it ripples out into the family. Research shows that children need a strong connection with one adult. One. And that strong connection is needed for them to like become resilient. So if they're not getting that from your partner, then they're getting it from you, and that's okay. Often we'll feel like we have to kind of jump in and defend our kids against our spouse. Like if our spouse is maybe consequencing or being too harsh or something, we want to jump in and protect our kids. And again, this is from Dr. Donna Matthews, and she's been, I don't know, 3 or 4 decades. She's been helping families and parents who are, need the marriage support and the parenting support. And so what she said is you need to be on the same page in front of the kids. So as much as you want to jump in there and rescue your kid in that moment, it's best not to, unless of course they're being hurt emotionally or physically hurt. So we actually want to use the same strategies on our spouse that we would use on our kids. And I know it's easier said than done, because I know when we see our spouses doing something like snapping at our kids or saying, I'm taking away your iPad because, and you totally don't agree with it, it's really hard. It's triggering for us. And just notice that that's triggering for you. Notice it. Often when we're raising kids who are so demanding and needy, we are feeling burnt out and exhausted, and all of our energy is going to the kids. And there's little energy that goes to ourselves and our relationship with our spouse. And this is one of those things that has been very clear across many experts that I've interviewed. So this is one of those things that I just love. Your relationship with yourself comes first. Taking care of yourself, your own self-care, dealing with your own emotions, yourself is first. Then your relationship with your spouse. And third, it's the relationship with your child, which really feels for me unnatural, because I was raised in a way that like kids come first. Like, and we always like give the best to the kids, the best quality food and the best attention and the best energy and the best of everything is for the kids. But we actually need to be taking care of ourselves, our adult relationships, and then our kids. So it can be really hard when we see our spouse handling things the way we wouldn't want them to handle it. But imagine yourself. We often handle things the way we don't want to handle things, right? When we lose our cool, when we yell and snap, that's not how we want to handle things. So remember, when we're in those moments, we have flipped our lid. We are not using our conscious thinking prefrontal cortex brain. We're in the limbic system brain, which is that fight, flight, or freeze mode, where our body is sensing stress, it's sensing danger, and we're reactive. The same thing is happening with our spouse. And so just like I want you to have compassion for yourself when you flip your lid, when you lose it, when you yell and snap and react in a way that you don't want to, we have to have reaction. We have to have compassion for our spouse as well.
I did look there.
So they're probably triggered. They're in their emotional brain. And just like, it's not good to yell at your kids, your spouse knows it too, usually. And even though, and I've been there, and unfortunately I have done this, you want to tell them in that moment, like what a terrible job they're doing and how they're damaging your kids. The last thing that they want is to be criticized. Like imagine like you've just lost it and you're feeling overwhelmed. You don't want to be criticized. Like in those moments
Probably
when
the
you yell,
emotion
it's
stuff.
because you feel like your kids are
Can you
driving you
snuggle on my
crazy.
shoes?
Oh, definitely.
And you've maybe asked them nicely
Yeah.
6 times to go upstairs
I'm
and
more
brush
than
their
people.
teeth. 6
Jack,
times,
it's
and with like little
making French toast
transition
for
warnings, and you've
Brittany
done
and
all the
him.
nice things and it didn't work.
Really
So
good.
finally you'll lose it and you yell and scream like, get upstairs and brush your
Sue
teeth
is
right
definitely
now,
having him
or I'm
Sunday
taking
night
your iPad away for the rest of your
doing kind
life.
of
Like you
movie
lose
and
it,
dinner
right?
and sleepover.
The
Yeah.
last thing you want in
He
that
might
moment
be
is for your
going
spouse to
to
say, wow,
Brockton
you
Fair with
really
Grandpa
lost it. Like
Lloyd
you
and Grandma
suck. What
Judy.
kind of mother are you to yell at your sweet little kid like that? Like you
So
don't
sorry.
want that. Um, so just, I guess what I'm saying is kind of try to put yourself in their shoes, try to give them the same kind of compassion that you want to give yourself. Jenny C, please mute. Oh, okay. We don't want to layer that blame, shame, and guilt on top of our spouse because they're already probably triggered and emotionally charged and upset, and we don't want to put the extra layer on top. So the strategies that we talked about on day 3, we can use with our spouse in those situations too. So let's say our child is having a conflict with our spouse. The spouse starts yelling. We don't like how things are being handled. We're going to come in and do the first step, which is stop. So stop, make sure everybody's safe. And you might even just say stop, or you might even want to like throw in a little humor, like, okay, I guess I have to be the referee again. Okay, you to that corner, you to that corner, stop, everybody. Like however you want to manage it. But the first step is stop. Then you're going to take your deep breath, and it can be just that exhale out. And then you're going to connect with your spouse. So the same way you connect with your child when they're explosive, connect with your spouse. So put your hand on their shoulder, put your hand on their back, like wherever, whatever connection you have, whatever feels right for you, and look at them and say, I've got you, or I love you. You might not feel like saying I love you in the moment. I'm throwing it out there for those of you lovebirds who feel like saying it in the moment. But imagine, this thing probably happens a lot in your family. Your husband's probably used to you reacting, if that's how it goes in your house, and it's a cycle. So if all of a sudden he loses it and you put your hand on his shoulder and you look at him and you say, I love you, I've got you. Whoa. Pattern interrupt, calming the nervous system, helping him to balance. So whatever words feel right to you. So it might be like, even like, this is really hard for you right now. Take a break. I've got this. Maybe you and your husband have practiced and you have that code red. And if he's not able to access, his thinking to say code red, like tag me out, you just say, okay, code red, or whatever your word is. And that's the signal that he can just leave. He can walk out the front door. He can go to the bathroom. He can go to the bedroom, go to the basement, wherever. But he can go take care of himself, his emotions, and you take over. Oh my God, Jenny, I purchased a referee costume. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's funny, Jenny. I know it does feel like we're a referee a lot. Okay, so then after you've done that connection with your spouse, take that second breath, and that's to regulate your spouse. And maybe you talk about it ahead of time. And so maybe he knows when you're taking a deep breath that he should take a deep breath too. And I'm saying he, it could be she, what they, but the mirror neurons in their brain will pick up on the energy you're giving off. So if you're just doing this, their mirror neurons will pick up on that, whether they're doing the exhale or not. You want to let the kids know that you're on the same team. So your kids are going to see you saying, I've got you, take a break, rather than stop yelling at the kids again. You're making it worse, which is really what you probably want to do. But again, if you are doing your own self-care and your own work, you're working on your own triggers, then you're less likely to feel so triggered by these situations. This is why, the work in the Warrior Mama program is so powerful. Once we work on ourselves, the ripple effect for the whole family is incredible. So then you take over the situation with the kids, you do what you need to do. And once the kids are sorted out, then you're going to do the love method with your spouse. Tell me about what happened. Like, I heard you ask the kids 3 times to get off the computer and they weren't listening. That's so frustrating when they don't listen. Like, tell me what it was like for you. Like, what was happening? And just pause and let them talk. Like, let them say what they need to say. Let them get their frustrations out. And then you ask, like, are you feeling okay? Like maybe you know that there's something going on at work, or maybe you don't know, but maybe there's something upsetting them at work, or maybe they're not sleeping very well. And then when things are calm, like, you know, say like, when things are calm, can we talk more about this? Um, Sorry, someone just typed something. Jenny, love this so much. Thanks to those who asked it and to Laura for these suggestions. Laying blame in the moment definitely would make it worse. Your suggestions are so gently perfect. Thank you. And I know they're not easy to implement, especially when you yourself are burnt out and triggered. And that's why your own self-care is the number one most important thing. And working through your own emotions is so important. Um, and then when things are calm with your spouse, a script. You'd like me to type a script. Oh goodness. Okay. I'll see what I can do, Jenny. When things are calm, then have a conversation with your spouse, and you don't want it to be an accusatory conversation. You want it to be a problem solving. Like I've noticed like when the kids don't listen, it's really upsetting for you. Like, what's up for that? Can we talk about it? That might even be triggering for your spouse, wording it that way. So you kind of have to know your own situation and how you can word things. If you're having a hard time getting those conversations going, that's where a therapist or a coach might be, helpful, somebody to kind of mediate that conversation. Or maybe you take a different approach altogether and you talk about what are your goals for your kids. Like, so often we're just so wrapped up in surviving and doing the things that they have to be fed, they have to get to school, they need clean clothes, they need to go to their appointments. We need to stop the fighting, get them to listen, make them brush their teeth. Like, we're so wrapped up in that stuff that we don't spend time like goal setting or planning or envisioning, like, what do we want for our kids? What do we want them to learn from us? So those are conversations that you could have with your spouse. Like, where do we see our child in 5 years from now? Like, what would we want them to look like 5 years from now? And how are we going to get them there? Like, what things are we going to put in place to get them to where we want them to be in 5 years? And probably yelling and fighting isn't one of those things. And just notice, okay, so when they're struggling, what can happen, or when they do this, what do you think we can do? And so having those conversations and those calm moments would be helpful. And I know how hard it is to find time and energy for those conversations. I remember when my kids were little and I was in the point where I felt like I truly was having a nervous breakdown, and we had a behavior therapist who was working with us, and my husband would say, well, she has no time for me. She deals with goes to work, deals with the kids all night, and goes to sleep when the kids go to sleep. There's no time for us to talk. And the behavior therapist would say to me, well, can't you just stay up after the kids go to bed so you have some time together as a couple? It's like, no, I'm exhausted. I'm going to sleep. And this, like, I was in that state where sleep was my self-care. I had to sleep, but also my adrenals were shot. My thyroid was off. So that's something else I want to mention. If you are just feeling completely burnt out, exhausted, maybe you need to see a doctor, get your blood work done, and make sure that, because you need to take care of your physical health, make sure you're getting good sleep, good nutrition, water, exercise, and air. Like, those are the 5 basics: nutrition, hydration, sleep, exercise, and air. You have to take care of yourself. And then you also want to layer in, filling up your spiritual cup and social cup and whatever that means for you, whether it's, spending some time doing things you love, like taking pictures or walking in nature or going to the gym or whatever it is, taking care of yourself. You can't change your partner. You can't change them. You can focus on yourself You can take care of yourself. You can make the changes for yourself. And when you do, you're going to be raising up your energy, your vibrations, and that energy is picked up by everyone in your family. You will have a ripple effect. So you are the leader of your family. If you step into this, and in my words, it's like step into your warrior. Like you are the warrior. You are prepared to do whatever it takes, like to step in. It's like a battle. Step into it. Nutrition, hydration, exercise, oxygen, basically. So mindful breathing, fresh air. Your brain needs oxygen, and sleep. Christy, every single word that you are saying for every situation I have been in, having blown up all week, always instinctively, I jump in to defend my son and separate the two of them. I know, I get it. We often fight over the fact that we disagree with how we parent. And he says that I make him feel that he is not a good father. I know, I know, I know. I wish I could give you a hug. I know it's hard. And yeah, I wish I could give you a hug. I know it's hard. This is why I'm saying the same strategies that you're learning to use on your kids, use on your spouse. Because when you use that love method, when you take the time to listen to your spouse and their perspective and give them some compassion and validate how they're feeling, that's going to release oxytocin into your spouse's bloodstream and your bloodstream. That's the love chemical, the love drug. So that's good for you guys to have that in your bloodstream. That's going to lower the stress. That's going to increase your connection. It's going to block cortisol. So that's really important. Finding some time with your husband. So for me, when that behavior therapist was saying, oh yes, like just after the kids go to bed, could you just stay up for half an hour? No, because I had to take care of myself first, then my relationship with my husband. And for taking care of myself, I had to sleep. But if there is a way that you can find to spend some time with your husband, it is a good thing to do. And my husband and I right now, we try like Saturday morning before the kids come up, like we sit out on the porch, we have our cup of coffee, we have our calendars with us, like just so that we can talk and like, what's coming up for this week. And so we can try to be literally on the same page with our little paper calendars. But whatever it is, maybe you plan a date night, and maybe the date night is watching a movie together after your kids go to bed, or I don't know if they can do something independently on their own while you guys do something on your own. Like I know it's hard. A mother's helper can really help. Like having either an adult or high school kids need volunteer hours. I don't know if this would qualify for volunteer hours or if you want to pay a high school kid. And I've done this when my kids were little. They come into the house and they play with your kids. Like they're not given a huge amount of responsibility. You're still in the house, but they're playing with them. And that's enough, like just to kind of supervise the kids. So you can go to the kitchen and make dinner, or maybe you and your husband can sit on the porch and have an adult conversation. Your kids are safe. They're being supervised. Something to think about. Okay. The other thing is, my mom always would say to me, it's ages and stages. And I know that can feel kind of frustrating. Oh, it's a stage, it's a stage. But actually, Mom, you were right. Yeah, things are stages, right? So nothing lasts forever. So it might seem like whatever situation you're going through is lasting forever. It doesn't last forever. Just as you've mastered handling the situation and you've mastered the strategies that work for your kid in that moment, they grow and they change, and those strategies don't work. And then you've got to have new ones again, but it doesn't last forever. Sometimes you may need to let your spouse do the soft parenting and you do the hard parenting. So the soft parenting is the connection time, the snuggles, the story time, all the fun things, the joyful moments. Letting your spouse do that is going to help them build the connections. Maybe your spouse does the adrenaline play. Maybe your spouse does that limbic bonding where the kids leave to play for 10 minutes. That's going to help both of them build their connections. And if your spouse and your child are the ones that are often in conflict with each other, they're the ones that need to build their connection together. So let them do that kind of bonding, and you do the hard stuff. You be the one who says, go brush your teeth and get your homework done and get to bed and stop fighting with your brother. And you're the one that does the hard things for a while and let them do the soft parenting. That might help. And then, if you're using the strategies and they work, and then maybe your spouse will see how they work, and that those things. And the other thing is too, the strategies that your spouse has grown up with, that we've grown up with, those same strategies don't work anymore necessarily. They're outdated strategies. We now have learned so much more about neuroscience and the role of neuroscience in parenting. So although it sounds like kind of frou-frou, like conscious parenting and positive parenting and all these terms, they're actually backed by neuroscience. And it has to do with balancing your child's nervous system and their brains. So, I mean, that's something you could share with your spouse, that your parenting strategies are based on the latest research. Plus, ADHD brains don't respond well to that traditional like consequencing kind of stuff. Consequencing doesn't work anyway, really, and you've probably figured that out. I shared in Facebook the other day, like, imagine you spill your cup of coffee in the morning all over your shirt and your pants and the floor. And then your spouse says to you, what the heck? Like, I just made a fresh pot of coffee. I poured you a nice cup of coffee, and now you've stained your shirt and you've made a big mess. I'm taking that cup of coffee away from you, and I've decided you're not going to have coffee for a week. That's not going to teach you to not spill coffee again. You made a mistake. And if we want our kids to make mistakes, like, those are learning opportunities. We want them to be problem solvers. If we punish them or consequence them for making mistakes, that has the opposite effect that we want to have. Valerie said, hard to make time for myself as a solo mom. My boy's father doesn't understand ADHD and denies it's probably his condition. Oops, the words just moved. Yeah, and I get that as a solo parent. It's hard. He doesn't react well in situations of chaos. Yeah. So, yeah. So your self-care can be little things, but you need to fill your own cup first. So little things might be just like making sure you get enough sleep or enough water, or like drinking your cup of coffee and enjoying the way the cup, like appreciating and feeling gratitude for the way the mug feels warm in your hands and the smell of the coffee, and just maybe taking mindful breaths while the coffee's brewing, like really simple things. Or every time you get to a red light, you do a every time you walk through a doorway, I'm okay, and drop your tongue. Actually, that feels good. um, sorry, I'm trying to see all the comments here. And I've lost them. Sorry. Okay, did I answer that full question? TL Cat said, oh, I think I answered TL Cats about you be the leader, you model. So if you're modeling the strategies, the other parent might see it and pick up on it. You have the harder discussions with your kids and the problem solving. If your spouse is struggling with that, and let them see how you manage it. And Leanne's question also was, how do you respond to family? So again, you can let them know, like, research shows blah, blah, blah. And I'm using strategies that are based in neuroscience that work for my family. And when you're in those situations with family around, extended family, aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents, whatever, let them know, like, when there's a conflict, when there's a situation, I'll handle it. I've got it. Often they're looking for discipline and they're looking for consequences. And we feel that pressure, like they're watching me, they're judging me. They're judging me because I'm not consequencing. I'm doing it wrong. Like there's a lot of pressure. Just be mindful of how you're feeling and and think to yourself, how do you want to respond in those moments? So come up with a plan for how you want to respond. What words do you want to say in those moments? So when those moments arise, you have a plan of what to say. And it might be that when you're in situations with family and friends and you're at parties or gatherings or whatever, that you are always within reach of your child if they're younger and if they have difficulties, you're always in reach so that you are the one that's there to manage the situations. And maybe sometimes you have to make your visits shorter. Like maybe you don't stay for a whole day, maybe you just stay for an hour. Or maybe you don't go to as many events right now while you're in this age and stage, and things will change. Okay, Jenny said, I think you're just saying what I said. Okay. Jenny, you've got a question that you posted in Facebook. What do you suggest are the best strategies and tips for starting a parent's day off right? I love this one. And suggestions for first interactions from parent to child in the morning that could set a great tone for the day ahead. I love that question. So I always recommend getting up before your kids. And again, I know how hard it is. There was a time where I got up at the same time my kids got up because I could not drag myself out of bed. I was exhausted and I wanted every last second of rest. And even when I did get out of bed, I felt completely groggy. Oh yeah, that could be the sleep apnea too, by the way. If you're struggling with that, see your doctor. Like blood work, if you're not feeling rested, maybe you need to sleep study, but you need to take care of your health first. So, okay, how do you start your day off right? So I'll ask you that question. Like, what is something that fills your cup? What is something that you love? So some people like to journal in the morning. Some people like to read the news in the morning. Some people like to take a few minutes to read a book in the morning or exercise. You want to do something that's going to give you like a good dose of those feel good neurotransmitters. For me, yes, maybe you love to be alone and in peace. If you can get yourself outside first thing in the morning, that natural light, the natural sounds from outside, that is really beneficial. And the early morning light helps, it gives you serotonin in the morning. So that helps you to feel good, but it also helps to reset like your clock for sleeping, and it helps to set your melatonin. So that light first thing in the morning actually will help you have a more deep, restful sleep. So how do you start your day off right? Maybe it's listening to a meditation. I don't know if you have the Calm app or the Headspace app, or there's lots on YouTube as well. One that I like to do in the mornings, Satanama, Satanama. I think I might have that on my YouTube channel. But that's the Satanama one. You're supposed to say it for 2 minutes, whisper it for 2 minutes, say it in your mind for 4 minutes, then whisper it for 2 minutes, then say it for 2 minutes. And that mantra is very soothing to your system. So that's something I like to do in the morning. That's one of the things I like to do. I like to, if I can't, so I like to give myself half an hour in the morning where I am mindful that it's me time. And I'll even tell myself, I am doing this for me. I am doing this because I'm putting myself first. I am important. I need to take care of myself. Like I tell myself that I'm wiring into my brain that it's important that I take care of myself and that I am valuable. So one of the things I do, honestly, I look in the mirror, give myself a high five in the mirror and say, I've got this. It's going to be a great day. I then go for a walk. while I listen to my brain prime. So if you're in my Warrior Mama program, I'll teach you how to do a brain prime, which is, it takes there's quite a few steps to it, but basically you're priming into your brain the things that you want to believe, and the thoughts you want to have and the feelings you want to have. So I listen to my brain prime. It's about 8 minutes while I'm walking. I get to the lake, I watch the sunrise, and then I do my tapping. Actually, I also tap while I'm walking and listening to my brain prime. So I look kind of crazy while I'm walking down the street tapping, because that makes the thoughts energetically. When you're tapping and you're thinking these things and feeling these things, it helps to really like help your body receive those messages. So I tap, then I have a little energetic routine that I do, and it's only 4 minutes long. And then I walk back home while I do my Sata Nama meditation. So that's what I do for me, but you need to figure out like, what works well for you. But if I could just suggest one thing, it would be to get outside, even if it's for 2 minutes, let the natural light and the natural air and the natural sounds, take some deep mindful breaths. That's a great way to start the day. For your kids, if you go to my website, sorry, I'm getting distracted by the comments. Is that Jenny? Yeah, Jenny, thank you. Okay. If you go to my website, theadhdvillage.com, and if you scroll down to the bottom, there's like 2 free things. There's a journaling template, and there's I think it's called Secrets to a Successful Start to the School Day, but it gives tips for what you can do for your child to set their day off right. And so one of the things for the kids too is to get them outside first thing in the morning if you can, a few breaths of fresh air. I always hand my kids a glass of water first thing in the morning with lemon in it. That's good morning. It's going to be a great day. Drink your water. But yeah, just going into your kids like with that positive energy. Good morning. I love you. It's going to be a great day. I think that starts the day off nicely. And then depending on like what routines you have with your kids, like I went through a period with my kids during COVID when it was really hard for them. I had them make their own affirmations. And I'm just trying to think if I have that shared in Facebook somewhere, but we worked on writing all kinds of affirmations. I gave them sentence starters, and then they picked the 3 that were the most meaningful to them. And we made a sign, had it posted in their bedroom. And that was part of their morning routines. Like, say your affirmations, or I would say it, they'd repeat it while I was hugging them or whatever. Know your kids' love languages too. My youngest one, his love language is touch. So there's lots of big hugs in the morning. And I did notice when he was really struggling through COVID, taking the time to really hug him in the morning and just say some of those like reassuring words, like, it's going to be a great day. I love you. You're so smart. You're so kind. Like all those things that impacted his mood. Okay. I hope I answered your question, Jenny. Yvonne, my son refuses to go to school. All tactics I've tried haven't worked, and he is basically unwilling to join in any clubs or doing anything which looks like he's doing any work. Arguing, think it's funny to throw things in my face, clothes, etc., yelling out silly noises in my ears, not wanting to help with anything, doesn't value himself or achieving anything, and is so negative. Turns everything into a catastrophe and drama, and has massive separation anxiety, so won't leave me alone at all. Even has to sleep with me, no one to leave him with or to ask to look after him as he refuses to go. So I feel you, Yvonne. First of all, take a deep breath, because I feel like that felt really heavy. Even just reading that, I could feel the heaviness. So I want you to kind of notice how those thoughts make you feel. He won't leave me alone at all. He turns everything into a catastrophe and drama. He has massive separation anxiety. So as you're saying these things and thinking these things, how do those things make you feel? Notice it without judgment and feel it. Like if that causes you anxiety or sadness or worry, notice it. And you want to process your own feelings first. There's a saying, check yourself before you wreck yourself. So notice how these things that you're dealing with your child, how they make you feel. And before jumping into any strategies, you want to sort out your own feelings first. And so I'll give you an example. So it's Canadian Thanksgiving weekend. Here's an example. If my sister and I both have the same turkey, basically the same kind of turkey and the same recipe, when we make those turkeys, they can turn out completely different based on our thoughts. So our thoughts create our feelings drive our actions, which ultimately gives us our consequence. So my sister is an excellent cook. She's a baker. She seems to naturally host parties. So if she's making the turkey dinner, she might think, oh, yay, I'm going to make the turkey dinner and I'm going to, use this fresh rosemary that I have in my garden. And I'm going to include the kids in the making of the meal. And she usually has the kids do some cute little crafty thing that they give to everybody. And she might have music playing and dancing while she's cooking in her kitchen. And it's really fun and light and joyful. And she's envisioning like all the things. And maybe she's going to make Yorkshire pudding because she's remembering our grandmother used to make it. And then the consequence of how like she handles that whole situation is that we have this beautiful, delicious turkey dinner. So her thoughts were like, I love to cook. We're going to have fun with this. We're going to have a beautiful meal together. I love traditions and celebrations. And this, I'm so thankful. Whereas my thoughts might be, oh, good God, I have to cook a turkey. I have to cook the turkey. Ugh, like I don't do well with raw meat. And I can't even start cooking until I've cleaned my kitchen. It has to be perfectly clean first. And good grief, look at the mess around my whole entire house. I need to clean my whole house before I can start cooking. I am completely overwhelmed. How am I going to host Thanksgiving? How am I going to do this? Oh my God, I'm probably going to ruin the turkey anyway. What if I overcook it because I'm too distracted with cleaning the house? Or what if like I don't put it in on time because I'm late getting it in the oven and dinner is supposed to be at 5 and it's not really ready till 8. Good grief. Why do I have to be the one making the turkey? This is not fun. So if those are my kind of thoughts, you can see how the consequence might end up being that my turkey sucks. Maybe it's burned or it's undercooked and there's a different energy. So your thoughts create your feelings, which drive your actions and give you the ultimate consequence. So if your child is doing all these things and your thoughts are they're catastrophizing everything, they're dramatizing everything, they even have to sleep with me, he refuses to go anywhere, you're having these thoughts and you are and I'm not diminishing anything, but your feelings are overwhelmed, stressed, worried, anxious. And now you want strategies. So the strategies are like the recipe, the turkey recipe. My sister and I both had the same kind of turkey and the same recipe, but she was able to have this beautiful Thanksgiving dinner and mine was a flop because I didn't have the energetics. So I can give you all these beautiful strategies and say, do this, this, and this to get this result. But if your energetics are not there, if you're not taking care of your own emotions, your own energy, your own self-care, you're not going to be able to deliver those strategies the way they need to be delivered. It's just the way it is. So yeah. So notice, what's the saying? Check yourself before you wreck yourself. So tune into your feelings, notice, don't judge yourself, just notice, give yourself some compassion, process your feelings. This is where, a coach or a therapist might help you with that, like the emotional toll. But we want your nervous system to be balanced so that you can handle these things. And we want your child's nervous system also to be balanced. So if your child is refusing to go to school, refusing to participate in anything, then obviously the nervous system is not balanced. There's your child sensing danger. They're in this fight, flight, or freeze mode, probably the flight or fight mode, which is the red pathway in Mona Delahooke's work. It's called the red pathway. And in that pathway, they're not able to reason and rationally think and problem solve reasonably. They're in this emotional state, and the emotional state is I'm in danger, I'm in danger, I'm in danger. So although school is, a higher priority, the social events are not as high of a priority. So maybe you let those go for now. Maybe your child is just not ready at this time, and that's okay. My youngest son went through that during COVID. There was way too much anxiety. He just wasn't ready. And now he's more comfortable and he's ready. Oh, I just noticed I don't have my headphones in. I can hear my kids upstairs talking. I'm gonna stick these on. Okay. So for this child who's refusing to go to school and refusing to go anywhere and won't separate from you, what I would recommend is that you work on that 10 minutes of connection time every day. So that connection time, that limbic bonding time where your child's leading the play, that is going to help with that, the dose of feel-good neurotransmitters, which is going to help to settle his nervous system down. And also spending time doing things that he loves and things that are calming. So if he loves Lego or coloring or kicking a soccer ball, you want to hyperdose on all of those things for a little while. Really like pump up the things that he's good at. In terms of not going to school, in a state when your child is calm, so away from the time when he has to go to school, if you're able to engage in a conversation, like I've noticed that you don't want to go to school. What's up with that? What's going on? See if they are able to communicate, maybe try to ask some questions, and maybe they're afraid of the teacher, or maybe they don't like the loud noises, or maybe they get in trouble, but see if you can problem solve with your child and also problem solve with the school. See you really want to have open communication with the school. So I hope that was helpful, Yvonne. Definitely a coach can kind of help you work through that emotional piece. Okay, a few more questions. Tammy said, how can I get people to understand that even though our daughter is 11 and a half, she doesn't have the capacity to act like every other 11 and a half year old? So we can't get people to understand, is really and truly like, we can't make people understand. We can't make people behave a certain way. We can try to educate and share as best as we can. So, I mean, if it's somebody close to you, if it's a family member or friends, just tell it like it is. My child has ADHD. That means that their social and emotional skills are 30% reduced. So even though my child's 11 and a half, she has the social and emotional skills of a 9-year-old or an 8-year-old, whatever the math is. I don't know. And that's it. And you might not be able to make them understand because they may not have the energetics to understand. And I think that might not be the answer you want to hear, but you can tell it like it is. This is the science. You can direct them to a website that might give them some more information if they're interested in learning more. I hope that answered your question. Maybe not what you wanted to hear, but we can't make people understand. We can just state the facts and that's it. And I guess kind of accept that some people are not going to get it, and you choose to who you want to surround yourself with. So I was, when my kids were young, extremely grateful, like incredibly grateful to the friends and family who welcomed us in their homes, because many people couldn't handle our energy. And it was my kids' energy and their dysregulated nervous systems, but I was also quite dysregulated and would be reactive. And we maybe weren't a lot of fun because maybe people didn't like fighting and yelling in their houses. And I get that, and it's fine. So I was like, I'm thinking about one aunt in particular who had a farm my kids got to go to all the time and run around there. And she always had food for us and was so welcoming. And my best friend always would have us over no matter what, with no judgment. And her parents would have us up at their place with no judgment. So people who accepted us without judgment, I was just so incredibly thankful to. So you want to build your village. Build your village. Who are the people who are going to get you, who are going to be accepting, who are going to be supportive? Those are the people you want to kind of hang around with. And again, it's ages and stages. Things don't always stay the same. If there's people in your life that are not supportive to your kids, who are going to say things like, ugh, like, give your kid to me for a weekend and I'll fix them. They just need some good discipline, or like they don't get it, then maybe those aren't the people you want to surround your kids with at this time while your kids are going through what they're going through. So choose your village, find your people, and love them hard. Denise asked, looking for strategies on how to manage the debates, rational arguments, consequences, logic aren't being processed. Once he locks into whatever he wants or thinks is the solution, nothing I say or do reasons with him. And I so get what you're going through. Kids with ADHD are black and white thinkers. They are sticky thinkers. They have a difficult time seeing other people's perspectives. So any kind of perspective taking activities that you can do away from the heat of these moments would be helpful. And I have it in the 21-day challenge. That's one of the challenges for the kids, is perspective taking. There's a picture of two people looking at a number on the floor, and it's the number 6 to one person and the number 9 to another person. And I love showing that image to kids and getting them to talk about it. Helping them understand perspective. Like if you're watching a TV show or a movie or reading a book together and there's an opportunity to see somebody else's perspective, you could ask your kids, like, what do you think this person's thinking? What do you think this person's thinking? Are they both right? Like, any ways that you can help your child see different perspectives is going to be helpful. And I think that sticky thinking piece can be very frustrating for us as the parents. It can be frustrating for us. Of course it is, right? Like, we want our kids to see our point of view because we probably know what's best and what's right, but they just won't listen. They're stuck in their own way. So that's a lagging skill that these kids have. So we just have to find ways to support that lagging skill. So like I said, with finding opportunities through TV or books, or even observing social situations, and any way that you can organically bring in a conversation about perspectives will be helpful. And I would say don't engage in a debate, because when we engage in debates, we're basically trying to prove ourselves right and them wrong, which only escalates them even more. They dig their heels in even more. So instead, ask them things like, tell me more about that. Why do you think that? Has there been another time in your life when this sort of situation has happened? Or can you think of another situation that was similar? And what if this would happen? Then what would you think? So just engage them in the conversation that way and get them to really explain their thoughts. And my son was explaining, when I took the time to really listen, about why he likes rap music, because I don't like the words and the messages in a lot of rap music. And I would like to to tell him this and tell him not to listen to it. And these are the reasons why. But when he explained to me something he really likes about rap music is that he appreciates that a lot of these rappers have come from situations that were, maybe low socioeconomic situations, or um, and he's like, they've defeated the odds and they've become famous. And I like that. And he's like, a lot of adults don't like rappers and they don't see what's good about them. But I see that things were really hard for them and now they're famous. And I think he kind of sees that in himself, that like he has a lot of struggles and things are really hard for him. And he wants to defeat the odds and become something amazing. So just giving your kids the opportunity to really express why it is that they're thinking their point of view. And sometimes as they're saying their point of view and they might kind of notice on their own some inconsistencies, maybe. And then the consequences don't work. You were saying rational arguments. So rational arguments will never work when they're in fight, flight, or freeze mode, when their nervous systems are not balanced, when they're emotional. Rational debates will never work because their thinking brain is offline. They don't have the capacity. ADHD brains already have an imbalance of dopamine and adrenaline. Dopamine and adrenaline are required to fuel the prefrontal cortex, which is where executive functioning takes place, where rational discussions take place from this. So if you're dealing with an ADHD brain, they're 30% younger than they are. So if your child is 15, the debate you're having is now with, actually, it's a 12-year-old. And they're not getting the dopamine and the adrenaline required to fuel this part of the brain that's required to have debates. So it's really like not even worth having the debate because they're not capable of it. I hope that kind of helps. I know it maybe isn't what you wanted to hear. It's not easy, right? Like and then you were saying that consequences don't work. And you're right, Denise, they really don't work. And back to the story I shared about the coffee. If you spilled your coffee and your spouse says, well, I'm taking the coffee away for a week now, that's not going to teach you to not spill coffee again, right? The purpose of a consequence is to teach a lesson, but consequences don't really teach lessons. They just teach kids that we're disappointed when they make mistakes, and we're going to add an extra layer of like guilt and shame for making the mistake. And if you think about it, if my husband said, you're not going to get coffee for a week, I'd be pissed. And probably if you're trying to implement a consequence to your kid, they're probably pissed too. So it really doesn't work. But a natural consequence would work. So for example, if your child leaves doing their homework to the very last minute, they don't get it finished, they hand it in and get a poor mark. That's a natural consequence. Natural consequences. So consequences that happen organically, those ones tend to work, but not ones where we're like actively trying to impose a consequence. It's like a punishment. Okay, Dawn. We have a question from Dawn and a question from Janet. Oh, and then a few more from Leanne. Oh, goodness. Okay, and then that's it. So three more people ask questions. How's everybody doing? Friday night. These are all really good questions. And I feel like a lot of these questions, maybe if you even go back and watch the replay later, take some time to kind of journal on them yourself. Like if these are questions you have, and kind of ask yourself, what does it say about me? So whatever your question is about your child, What does that imply about you? Because often our brains are making it mean something about us. Like, why does this trigger me? Why is it so upsetting for me? Why? Ask yourself why and journal it and see if you can get deeper. Okay, Janet's question. My 12-year-old son has ADHD. I am trying to understand what he is going through, and I'm having a hard time. I have seen a lot of suggestions for the kids, but let's talk about the parents. Yes, Janet, that's my favorite. Let's talk about the parents. I have no patience. I yell when things don't get done. My fuse is very short. And yes, I know it doesn't help. What do you all do when your kiddo can't sit still, stop making noises, asking for something 100 times, usually electronics? It drives me crazy. I have got to find something to chill me out. Thank you. So, Janet, we've talked about a lot of these things. First of all, your own self-care. So kids do well if they can, and parents do well if they can. So if you're not doing well, you're feeling like you're having a hard time, you're feeling like you're being driven crazy, you need to chill out. These are your words. So you're having a hard time. Parents do well if they can. Right now, you can't. You're having a hard time. So the basics of self-care: hydration, sleep, nutrition, oxygen, which mindful breathing, fresh air, and who remembers? Oh, exercise. And then your spiritual, social kind of self-care, like what do you do for your own fun, for your own joy? Is it a gratitude journal? Is it reading a book? Is it meditation? Is it deep breathing? Is it going for a walk in nature? Like, what do you do for yourself? Going out with a friend once a week? Take care of yourself first, Janet. Secondly, the emotional piece. So like, I feel like I can feel the emotion coming through in that paragraph that I just read. Short fuse, no patience, yelling. I know I shouldn't yell. I know it doesn't help. So there's like that kind of like that guilt for the yelling. So all of those feelings, they don't feel good in your body, right? They feel uncomfortable. They don't feel good. And then you said you're trying to understand where your son is coming from. Trying to understand is logical, but your emotions are irrational. So I would say before you try to understand and do the strategies and do the things, deal with your own emotions first. So if you need to have a good cry, have a good cry. Like if you need to grieve that this is not how you pictured things to be, you didn't picture that you'd have this child that cannot sit still for a second. They run around like a robot that has an Energizer bunny battery, and they make these annoying noises that make no sense, and they're nonstop, and you want quiet and you can't have any. And you ask them to do things 100 times and they just don't listen to you. Like that's not how you pictured your family to be. That's not what you thought motherhood would be like. You didn't expect that you would be yelling and have no patience. And I can relate to that. As a teacher, I've always been told how incredibly patient I am. And then all of a sudden, I have these kids with ADHD, and I went through a few years where I had no patience. And I notice now, even like if I'm sick, I have less patience. For me, if I don't get enough sleep, I don't have enough patience. Like my patience is what goes when I'm not taking care of my basic needs. So yeah, so do what you need to do to get your emotions out. Some people like to journal, like get it all out, say all the things, even if they're horrible. Those horrible things are in your subconscious brain, get them out, write them down, and then you can rip up the paper afterwards and burn it if you want to or whatever. But deal with the emotions, get them out. Notice when these things happen, how do you feel? Like, do you feel your heart racing? Do you feel like your body like tensing or shaking? Do you feel your palms getting sweaty? Do you feel your face getting hot and prickly? Notice the feelings in your body, because often what we do is we start having these feelings and they don't feel good. They're uncomfortable and we don't want to have them. So we push them down or we distract ourselves. So, and then we might feel guilty too. Like, I shouldn't be yelling at my kid. I shouldn't be angry at my kid. I shouldn't. We should all over ourselves. We feel guilty and ashamed. And so we're pushing these feelings down or distracting ourselves from them, but they're in there and they cause havoc on our bodies. Like, you might have like pain in your neck and back and shoulders from pushing the feelings in. And eventually what happens, you lose your patience. And like you said, you yell, you explode. So those feelings all pop up. So, you know, an example could be, you know, I see my son's room is a mess. And that's annoying. And I think, oh, well, he has ADHD. He's messy. I'm not going to let myself get annoyed about that. And then I go down to the kitchen and I see dirty dishes everywhere. And I think, oh, I don't want to get annoyed about that. I should be, so I'm going to shit on myself. I should be so grateful that I have a kitchen with dishes. And I should be so thankful that we have dirty dishes because that means that we had food to eat. So I should be so thankful and not annoyed about the dirty dishes. So I'm like doing that toxic positivity. And then I go pee and I sit on the seat and there's pee on the toilet seat. And if at first I'm feeling disgusted and grossed out and totally annoyed at my son, or yeah, it would be my son. I won't blame that one on my poor husband for peeing on the seat. And then I think, I shouldn't be annoyed at this. Like, I should be happy. I have a child to pee on my seat. Like, and he was probably, I'll make some excuses. He was probably tired and distracted and it's okay. And then I trip on his backpack in the hall and now I freaking lose it. Can you hang up your backpack? Why do you have to leave it in the hall? Oh, you never put anything away. You're driving me crazy. And my son is like sitting there playing on his video game with his friends and they can all hear me yelling like a maniac. And it's not about the backpack in the hall that I tripped over. It's about all the other things that I wasn't addressing, that I was pushing down or trying to avoid or distract myself with or whatever. And then they come exploding to the surface. So the best way I know how to deal with emotions, the very best way, the thing that's had the biggest impact on my life is called the rapid relief technique, tapping, which is created by Sarah Longoria. So if you are familiar with emotional freedom technique, which is tapping, so you tap on meridian points on your body, and it helps to release your emotions. Sorry, I just see something for my mom. So it helps to release your emotions. But what makes Sarah Longoria's technique different is that you say all the things in the moment, not in front of your kid. So when I was losing it about tripping on the backpack, instead of screaming it out at him and throwing my emotions at him and being reactive, go to my bedroom, go to the bathroom, whatever, close the door and start actually on the right side is releasing. Start tapping and saying all the things like, oh my gosh, it's so disgusting that I have to sit and pee. Why can't they just aim? Why can't they put the seat up and aim like this? And you just say all the things that you're thinking and you notice how you're feeling. I am so angry. I'm so frustrated. This is not how I wanted things to be. And honestly, after tapping for a little while, you can feel the emotion. It's magical. You feel the emotions move through you because emotions aren't forever. They don't last forever. They're vibrations. They go through your body. They come and they go. Emotions pass. And that rapid relief, that's what it is. It gives you rapid relief of your emotions. That's the best way. So if you want to learn more about the rapid relief technique, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to share Sarah Longoria's video with you in the Facebook group and on my YouTube channel. And she does a beautiful job explaining of what it is. Yeah. And I use that technique in my coaching. I swear by it. It's the best thing. And my kids will kind of notice now too, like if I start doing this, they're like, "Oh, what's the matter, mom?" And I'll just say, "Oh, I'm just feeling my feelings. I just need a minute. I'm just feeling my feelings." Might kind of just say them in my head or whisper them or something if I can't excuse myself. Yeah. So whatever you need to do to feel your emotions, and sometimes like just go to the bathroom and say them. Like if you're not into tapping, just say the things. Like get it out of your body. Um, Jennifer Coleri recommends that you yell, but you don't yell the hurtful things because sometimes you want to get that yelling energy out. So, I mean, if you can go to the bathroom or another room to do it, but just, oh, I'm so mad right now. And I would like to say so many things, but I'm not going to say it because I don't want to be mean. But oh, I'm frustrated. Like, that's okay. Like, get it out, get the feelings out. Once the feelings have passed, then you're going to have access to your thinking brain. Then you can rationally try to sort through things. Then you can try to understand your son better. Then you can try to implement some strategies. But yeah, so taking care of your self-care and your emotions first, Janet, is what I would really recommend. And that tapping, like it really does chill you. So I will be sure to share Sarah Longoria's video. I'll put it in the Facebook group and I'm going to put it on my YouTube channel. And that would be a big recommendation is to watch that. Sarah Longoria is fabulous. She is the leader of a community called Hey You Human. And then so Janet, once you've kind of sorted through your emotions, then you can ask yourself, like, why does it drive me crazy that my son can't sit still? What about that drives me crazy? Does he need to sit still? What happens if he doesn't sit still? What does his not sitting still say about me as a parent? And are there some things that you can let go? So notice what your triggers are. But I think Janet, reaching out and you are noticing what your triggers are and you're trying to find ways to chill out, that's a great first step. And Jenny's question earlier about like how can you start your day, that might be a good thing for you, Janet, is to start your day off by putting yourself first. Look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself, I'm going to put myself first. I'm going to go outside and have a breath of fresh air. I'm going to do a 5-minute meditation, whatever it is. What do you love? What do you love to do? Do you have a hobby? And you might not remember what your hobbies are even because it's been so long since we've indulged. That's what it feels like in something we love. But what did you love to do as a kid? Did you love coloring or dancing or singing? Try to remember the things that you loved to do as a kid and see if you can bring that back. Janet, I do feel for you because I know exactly how you're feeling. I've been there. That is why Sarah Nicorek and I have created Putting Mama First. You said that you need some strategies to chill out. Putting Mama First has 32 sessions that are all about 30 minutes each. And within each session, each of our facilitators does something with you that is relaxing or that promotes self-love or joy. So they lead meditations, they lead art activities and music and dancing and singing and laughing and all sorts of activities. So Putting Mama First is free. November 7th to 9th, you'll pick up some great strategies there on things that you can do to help yourself chill. Okay, Leanne. Okay, Leanne said, what are some strategies to limit electronic time? It's so difficult because there is no end to a game, right? So 5 more minutes becomes I'm almost done. And this usually results in either me or my husband having to shut it down and the angry outbursts begin. Okay, love this question. So for a really in-depth answer, I'm going to direct you to the Facebook group. if you search in the Facebook group and you type in video games, you'll see an interview from October of last year, October 2021, with Aaron Huey. Aaron Huey he has a podcast called Beyond Risk and Back. So he works with kids who are like really, really at risk. And he's done a lot of work with kids around video games. And he's just written a book. I'm not even sure if it's been released yet. So I did a fantastic interview with him. It's about an hour long. It's in the Facebook. And again, that one didn't record, so I can't upload it to YouTube. So you have to see it in the Facebook group. But so yeah, so there's lots of strategies there, but you're right. This 5 more minutes, like we think that's like a good thing. Like let's set a timer for 5 minutes, but the game's not over then. And they might be playing with their friends who are relying on them. Or if they stop before they finish whatever mission they're on, then it might put them back further in the game. So this 5 more minutes thing is really difficult for them. So this is where collaborative problem solving comes in. So our kids with ADHD have poor impulse control. They struggle with time management. So these lagging skills make the electronics really difficult for them to navigate. So this is where we can build some skills in and help them. So for example, if you want your child off the video games and at the dinner table for 6 o'clock, talk to them, not while they're in the midst of video games or while they're heated, like in a calm moment, like talk to them and say, okay, we've got a problem. I want to make sure that you feel like you're winning and you feel good with your video games. But I also want to feel like I'm winning because I want our family to have dinner together at 6 o'clock. What can we do so we all feel like we're winning? So we want it to be like you win, I win, we all win. How can we make this work? And so you start your collaborative problem solving together. Kids are way more likely to buy in if they are involved in the solutions, if they get to be a part of the problem solving process. So ask your child, like, what might work for you? And like, I've noticed that when we say 5 more minutes, that's really upsetting for you because your game's not done yet. So like, what can we do about this? Like, how long does a game take? So maybe you decide that it's not a good idea to start a new game after 5:30. So he can play his game, but if the time is after 5:30, he can't start a new game. Whatever it is, you guys talk together and come up with a plan together. Now for me, I'm much softer than Aaron Huey. Aaron Huey's like hardcore. For me, I would be giving them reminders. Like I'd be like, okay, just a reminder, it's 5:30, no more new game. And just a reminder, dinner's in 15. Okay, it's in 10, it's in 5. But Aaron Huey's like, nope, you tell them like, this is the plan. You write it up like a contract. The child signs it. You have now this is Aaron Huey style where you have a consequence in the contract. So this is the rule. I am willing to give you Wi-Fi and pay for the video games and all the things, but I expect you to be at the dinner table at 6 o'clock. And if you can't be at the dinner table for 6 o'clock, this is what's going to happen. And it's not like you're yelling, like, get down here. I told you 6 o'clock and it didn't like, there's no emotion in it. It's, if this happens, if you're still playing video games after 6 o'clock, then whatever. And maybe it is, they have half an hour less video game time the next day or whatever you guys decide together, and it's in the contract. That's one way to handle it. Another thing I want to say too is there's so much conflict about video games and screen time, and there's a lot of data that says it's not good. And then we have that layer of guilt that we're letting our kids have too much screen time. We have that guilt. Let me know in the comments if you feel that guilt. I know I've experienced that, but video games have a lot of benefits for our kids with ADHD too. There are a lot of good things about video games. Like there are natural consequences in video games. when they die in the video game, they don't go all the way back to the beginning. They go back to like a checkpoint. So they're experiencing that failure and having to get up and do it again. But it's not like a huge amount of frustration if they're just going back a little bit. There's some social aspects too, if they're playing with friends. In a video game, they get to be their avatar. Like maybe our kids are really struggling at school in their real life. In a video game, they get to be a hero. So there are like some good things about video games. But yes, getting them off can be challenging for sure. Okay, one more question by Leanne. Do you have strategies for a child who rushes through homework? I have used the scribe tool you mentioned, but now in 10th grade, it's important for me to step back from that. So with short answer questions, he often doesn't end up answering the questions. He gets upset when I look over it, and then he usually yells, "It's fine." Okay. I hate homework. I'm a teacher and I've always hated homework because I feel like kids work hard all day at school. And then when they're done school, they need time to decompress. They need time to relax. They need family time. They need time to do things that they're good at, especially our kids who have ADHD, who also might have learning disabilities or other sort of struggles and delays. And being at school all day can be a battle all day long, and constant reminders of what they're not good at. And they're constantly working at skills that they're not good at. So when they're at home, it's such a nice time for them to do the things that they love and that they are good at, in my opinion. But yes, I do get high school is a different story, right? They have real responsibilities in high school, and my son's in grade 9 now, so I'm feeling it, and I get what you're saying. My son's actually very similar. So one thing is you take a step back and you let him fail. Like you let him have the natural consequences, because there has to be some intrinsic motivation to do the homework and to do it well. So you could let him do the homework and it's not well done, and the natural consequences, maybe he gets a poor mark on it. And you can ask him, like, don't say one way or another what you think of the mark, but how do you feel about the mark? Are you happy with this? Maybe it's a 55%. Maybe they're not happy with that mark. And then that can open up the conversation. Okay, well, if you're not happy with the mark, what's your plan to do better next time? What are you going to do to do better next time? So again, you're giving them the ownership, letting them be a part of the problem solving. On the other hand, they might get 55% and they might be happy with that because that's a pass. It might not be good for you because you know that they're capable of doing more. You can offer them tools and checklists like Google Read and Write. So if they're not wanting to type in all the things, because that takes a lot of steps in processing, Google Read and Write, and they can, or any kind of like voice to text, and they're just speaking their answers if you don't want to be scribing for them. I know my sons, I've got one in grade 9 and one in grade 7. And if they let me scribe for them, I like to scribe for them because then it gives me the opportunity to say, and can you tell me a little bit more? Can you tell me more? And I always tell the teacher, if I've scribed too, I'll say, listen, I scribed. I didn't answer the questions, but I did say, tell me more, tell me more. And these are his exact words. And what the teacher then told me is, every once in a while, maybe don't put the punctuation in the sentence, and then have him go back and at least do that piece. But if your son's not willing to have you working with him, maybe you hire a tutor, someone who checks in and does homework once or twice a week. If he's open to it, right? Like there has to be some motivation. Now, is all of the homework important? Is it all equally important? What's the weight of it? You want to talk to the teacher about that, because maybe the teacher can reduce the homework load due to ADHD. that could be a possibility. Or maybe the teacher can tell you, okay, these things are the most important things. These are the things that are going to be graded, or that, are precursors to the next thing that's coming. These other things are just extra practice. So really a nice open communication with the teacher around this homework support would be beneficial. And just notice your wording. He's in grade 10 now, so I need to take a step back from that in terms of the scribing. Why do you need to take a step back? I'm not saying one way or another what's right or wrong, but just ask yourself why. And then ask yourself why again, and then why again. And maybe, yes, he is in the 10th grade, but he has lagging skills and it's the end of the day and he's tired. And this is something that could help him to get his work done. Or maybe you want to foster the independence, and that's why it's important for you that you're not there scribing. But just really dig into asking yourself why, because sometimes we think we need to do things because like that's what we're used to, or that's how we were brought up, or that's kind of the norm or the general rule, or that's kind of the expectations that we hear around us. But the rules and the expectations that are all around us, those were all created by people, and we're people too. So why are those ideas that have just been generally accepted by the general public, why are they any more valuable than what our own thoughts and feelings and beliefs are? So just something to play with. The other thing is with homework, maybe you want to really pump him up before homework time. So something that's going to increase dopamine and adrenaline. Maybe going out and playing basketball, shooting some hoops or something before homework. Like maybe that's going to help like wake up his brain, because that might get the dopamine and adrenaline flowing, which is going to access the executive functioning skills. You want to have an optimal environment for homework. So maybe not in the bedroom, because you sleep in your bedroom. So your brain's associating the bedroom with sleep. And then that might be hard to motivate yourself to do your best homework in your bedroom. Maybe the time of day is something to consider too. Like maybe it's best shortly after school, like have a snack and an exercise break, and then it's homework time, or maybe right after dinner. Or maybe if they're an early riser, maybe homework happens in the morning. So kind of play around with the timing of the day, make sure the environment is optimum. And then another thing is allowing for breaks. So maybe he sets a timer for 15 minutes. He works hard for 15 minutes and then has a 5-minute break. And in that 5-minute break, maybe he's like scrolling through his phone, or maybe he goes outside and bounces a ball around for 5 minutes, whatever it is, and then gets back to work for another 15 minutes and then has another 5-minute break. So that can be really helpful. So that's the end of the questions that I found in the Facebook group and in emails. Are there any other questions? This is getting to the end of our 5-day challenge. I'm just going to pop onto Facebook and see if there's any questions in Facebook. If you have any other questions. Hi, Delilah. Hi, Delia. Hi, Crystal. Thank you for watching. Hi, Terry and Denise. Thank you for watching. Hi, Michelle. Thank you for watching. Okay. I don't see any other questions coming through. If you have a question, please post it in the Facebook group. I've noticed people who do an individual post in the group, the villagers are hopping right in there and supporting. These are your people. Let's love them hard. Let's support our villagers when there's questions and offer up ideas. That's what makes the Facebook ADHD Village such a beautiful place to be. I want to sincerely thank you from the bottom of my heart for spending this time with me. Congratulations to you. I'm celebrating you. I hope that you have found this 5-day challenge valuable. Let me know in the comments if you have. It's not too late to share the challenge with a friend or a family member. We were talking at the beginning about if your spouse isn't on the same page, maybe this is a challenge that they'd like to do. It's turned out to be about 8 hours of I don't know what we would call it, training or learning or whatever. So it is, I'm hoping that you're finding it valuable. So what I'd like to do now for the draw, let's do the draw. And then after the draw, we'll do the shop with me. And the shop with me is me just kind of letting you know everything that I have out there that's available. I've got things that are free that I'll tell you about. I have things that are lower cost, and then I have things that are higher cost. So let's do the draw first. Okay. So drum roll, please. Thank you, Deanna. I appreciate your feedback. Thank you. Okay. So the first prize will be for, we can kind of shop with me at the same time. So the first prize will be for one of my summits. So there was a summit that was done in September 2021, and then one from March 2022. The first one is called Calming the ADHD Chaos. The second one is called Calming the ADHD Family. And they're both interview series with experts. And it's basically the experts giving their best tools, strategies, suggestions on how to help your family with ADHD, how to calm that chaos, how to calm your family down. And I've got Dr. Hallowell as part of Calming the ADHD Family. I've got all sorts of authors, therapists, psychologists, coaches, doctors, pediatricians, like just a whole slew, neurologists, a whole slew of fantastic people who are offering their very best. So you can purchase those on my website, www.theadhdvillage.com. They're each $97, or also www.calmingtheadhdchaos or www.calmingtheadhdfamily. Anyway, so this winner, whoever this person is, will have their choice of one of those summits. And it includes like all the interviews, and it also includes a workbook. And the workbook is really nice for you to take your notes when you watch the interviews. There might still be free gifts that the speakers offered free gifts at the time of the summit. Some of those gifts may still be available. I'm not sure. It's up to the speakers, but yeah, those are two great, valuable summits, prizes, whatever we want to call them. Okay, and the winner is Christy Lynn. Don't know if you're watching right now, Christy, but you are the winner. You can let me know which one of those summits you would like, and it is all yours. Congratulations. I'm so happy. Oh, Christy, is that you that's on here on Zoom? Yay! Yay, 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 yay. Now, please, everybody, you can celebrate Christy in whatever way you want. Yay, Christy.
Thank you, Lara.
You're welcome. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. I'm so glad.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I will let you know.
Okay, awesome. And I'm totally celebrating with you.
Yeah. I am too. Best thing that's happened.
Yay! Okay, now, then you're so welcome. The next prize is for putting mama first. And like, honestly, I could cry when I talk about this. This has been my passion project along with Sarah Nicorek for nearly half a year. We have 32 gorgeous human beings who are part of this project. And everybody has like really put like genuine love into this event, like love. Like, it's not just, I'll give you my best strategies and advice. Like, there is love in this event. It is beautiful. So it's free to everybody from November 7th to 9th. So for 3 days. And each day there will be about 10 or 11 sessions that are offered to you, kind of like when you go to a spa and you pick what you want to do, you can pick what you want to do. So each session will have different types of things. Like there's There's someone who talks about human design. There's someone who does handwriting analysis and teaches you how you can heal yourself through handwriting. We have a harpist come on and she shares music that teaches you how to like meditate to this heart music. We have somebody who comes on and teaches you to scream and how to, that can be releasing and healing. And she's actually a medical doctor. So that's kind of cool. There's some womb wellness meditations. One of them is quite sexy, which is something a little different for me. So that's something, I mean, when do you ever get in touch with your feminine energetics and your sexy side when you're like, like totally burnt out? So that's something fun. There's laughter yoga. So all of that is free for the 3 days. So it's like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then the weekend following, you'll have access to all of it again. So you can catch the replays. But then we're also selling the VIP luxury experience. So if you want to have access, like lifetime access to all these sessions, there's a beautiful journal that goes with it. All of the facilitators are offering gifts to people who have the VIP access. And the gifts, it's nearly $2,000 worth of gifts. Like they're offering like their courses, like this kind of challenge that I did. Some people charge a couple $100 for this type of, oops, I dropped the name. For this kind of a workshop. So some of them are offering those for free. There's like books, there's all kinds of things. Anyway, I can't remember what all the prizes are. Also, when you have the VIP luxury experience, you get Zoom sessions with Sarah and I. So just like we're on Zoom right now, during the event, we'll have Zoom sessions where we give you extra fun learning, extra things to do, extra talking. We have question and answer. We have a separate masterclass. Oh, and the VIP luxury experience includes each of the facilitators have recorded a message. We're calling it a mama moment. And it's like a 2 or 3 minute message where when you're feeling like sad or burnt out or like you're failing, or even if you're feeling like you just need like an extra little pocket of joy, you can watch one of these little mama moments to lift you up. Oh, we have Nicole. What's her last name? Why has it slipped my mind? But she is a fascinating human being. She was a pastor in a church turned stripper, and she is sharing how you can have pockets full of pleasure. Her session is fantastic. She's fabulous. I love Nicole. Anyway, you are going to love putting mama first. And truly, I wish that this is something that everybody can experience. And I encourage everyone to register for it and spread the word. Like if you're in mama groups, parent groups on Facebook, like share it, because this is something really, truly, I wish everyone could experience. Anyway, the VIP luxury experience is $55 for now. In November, the price will go up. And then once it starts on November 7th, the price goes up again. And then when the event is over, the price will be $222. And that will be the price that we sell it at on our website afterwards. So right now, it's what, like 75% off? Anyway, so the winner of the VIP luxury experience for putting mama first is Leanne Dobson. Congratulations, Leanne. I am celebrating you. So happy for you. And I guess we're doing the shop with me integrated with the prize, which is kind of cool. So I have one last winner in here who will be getting a 1-month membership to the ADHD Warrior Mama program. Yes, congratulations, Leanne. Yes, we want to celebrate because the more we celebrate, it's good for our brains too. So the ADHD Warrior Mama program is my signature transformational program. It is 1 year of support, coaching, community, education. There's all sorts of experts that are brought into the group. There's expert videos, there's meditations, like it is everything I wish I had had years ago when I was struggling. This is like a beautiful program. It's like I don't even know how to describe it. Like it is a masterpiece. And the mamas who are in this program, they will tell you after a few weeks that they notice a shift in their family and they love the community and they are feeling so much more calm and confident in their parenting and deeper connections in their family. And it's beautiful. So this is a program for people who really want to make the change. Like there's two kinds of parents, the kinds of parents who kind of like are hoping things will get better, and the kind of parent who's going to step into their warrior and make change happen now. And they start by changing themselves. They're the leader of their family. They step up. And as they make those changes for themselves, it ripples out to the rest of the family. So this is like for people who are really serious about change. So if you are interested in this program, book a call with me. My Calendly link is shared in Facebook and it's shared through email. I would love, 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 love to support you. I'm bringing in some more mamas into this fall group right now. I do keep the groups really small so that you can get maximum amount of attention. Okay, so the winner for 1 month in the ADHD Warrior Mama program is Deanna Javier. Congratulations, Deanna. You get to become an ADHD warrior mama. So happy for you. Congratulations. And I don't know if you're watching. You are. You're on Zoom. Yay. Congratulations. So happy for you. Yay.
Thank you so much. It's been a rough day, so this is awesome.
Oh, thank you. And I will reach out to you and give you your welcome package and all those things soon. So congratulations. I'm sorry it was a rough day, but I hope this is a little pocket full of pleasure. Congratulations.
Yes, sure. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yay. Okay. So I'll tell you about a few other free things that I have available on my website, www.theadhdvillage.com. If you scroll to the bottom, there's 2 free things that you can sign up for. It will be emailed to you. One is called The Secrets to a Successful Start to the School Day. And it just gives you some tips on things that you can do with your kids in the morning to pump up their energy, get that, get the good endorphins flowing, get the dopamine flowing before you send them off to school. And then there's some journaling tools to help you kind of look at your thoughts and feelings. So those are free on the website. Also free, I have a YouTube channel. It's the ADHD Village. So I think if you just go onto YouTube and type the ADHD Village, it should come up, I think. So this whole challenge, except for day 3, which didn't record, is available there. I have some of the interviews I've done with some other experts available on YouTube. And I have some little short videos. So as things kind of come up in the Facebook group, or sometimes with my warrior mamas, as I see things that are concerns to people, I might come on and just do a short little chat about it. So those are on YouTube. I would love it for you to like and subscribe. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. I'm at like 240 now, so that's fantastic, but I really want to get to 1,000. So if you could help me with that, that would be awesome. Okay. Free also is the ADHD Village Facebook group. So even if you're not a Facebook user, you could have a Facebook account. You don't even need to have like your pictures or anything on it, but you could use it just to be a part of the group. I'm just throwing that out there as an option, but I love the ADHD Village Facebook group because it's such a supportive community. There's parents in the community who get what you're going through. And then we have a whole slew of professionals who are in there too: doctors, therapists, teachers, occupational therapists, speech therapists. Like there's a whole bunch of professionals in there. So when you throw your questions out, you're getting some really good feedback. Sometimes you just want support from someone. There's an opportunity for you to find an accountability partner. There's a thread pinned to the top if you want to find somebody maybe who is in the same time zone as you, or maybe someone who has kids the same age with you, same age as your kids, and you can kind of bounce ideas off of each other. So it's a beautiful place to be. We share like inspiring quotes and inspiring ideas. And I hop on and do some lives in there every once in a while. Yeah, I love my Facebook group. So because all of you are in there, and find your people, love them hard, right? So there's lots of love in that group. And you're definitely surrounded by like-minded parents if you're in that group. And there's nearly 3,000. We're nearly at 3,000, which will be a big celebration when we hit 3,000. We're nearly there. Okay. And then this 5-day challenge is free. And because this is ADHD Awareness Month, it will be free for the month of October. So that's what I have to offer that's free. And I feel it's really important to offer things for free because I know it can be expensive raising kids with special needs. They have medications and extra supplements and extra treatments and all the things. So I know how hard it is, and I want to give to the community as much as I can. So that's why I offer things for free. And it's also a nice way for you to kind of get to know me and see if, that we might be an energetic match to work together in another capacity at some point, if you think that I might be your person. So then I have some of my, like the lower cost items, the summits I already talked about, they're $97. Putting Mama First is only $55 right now. And if you're thinking about getting the VIP luxury experience, you want to purchase it in October. In November, the price will go up. I think it goes up to $88. And then during the event, it's $111. And then after the event, it's $222. So if you're wanting to buy it, October is the time to do that. And this is my passion project. It's filled with love. And it's really about helping you with your own self-care, your own self-love, helping you find the joy in motherhood, because raising kids with ADHD and going through all the problems that we went through can be draining. So we want to pump up some joy where your focus goes, your energy flows. I'd like you to be able to focus on some joy for you as a human. You deserve joy. And then I also have the 21-day challenge for kids. And I think the price is $79 for that. So it's similar to the challenge that we did for 5 days, only there's 21 sessions and they're short. They're like 10 to 15 minutes and they're geared for kids ages, I'd say like 5 to 12. So I come on, I teach a little mini lesson on some of their lagging skills, like perspective taking, understanding anger. I can't even remember. It's been so long. Teaching them the importance of celebration. So I teach them about their brains and then give them a task to do. There's little experiments to do. And then I've told you about my Warrior Mama program. And then I also offer private coaching. So those are all the ways that you can work with me. I've got some free, I've got some lower prices, and then I've got my big, beautiful masterpieces, my Warrior Mama program, which is 1 year long, or private coaching, and we can start at 3 months. So please stay close to me in the ADHD village, stay connected, keep sending me your questions, your comments. Feel free to post in the ADHD village, post questions, post comments, post, if you find something that you think is inspirational, an inspirational quote, please go ahead and share it. We want to, we want this to be a high vibe a place. We want to be in that energetic place of love, the vibration of love and joy and gratitude, so that we can give that energy to our kids. So I hope that you find that in the ADHD village. And it is time for me to say goodbye. I'm going to miss you every day for 5 days. But please do stay close in the ADHD village, and you have my email address. You can always send me an email. And if you would like to work with me, if you would like to be a Warrior Mama, I would love to have you in the program. You can just click on my Calendly link. It's in Facebook and it's in the email. And I would love to bring you into the program. Okay. Have a beautiful weekend. Happy Thanksgiving. Sending you so much love. Love you. You're beautiful. You're amazing parents. You are loving. You are kind. You can do this. I believe in you. Have a great weekend. Bye.